everyone, welcome back to BS Rambles. Today we are discussing the top 3 picks to save a bad draft. There are a few heroes in this game that can turn a really ugly draft into a solid team composition, and if you can be good at any one of these heroes, you will definitely encounter times when you can save a game by picking them. So let's dive right in by addressing first what a good draft consists of, so we have some context on what types of heroes can save a bad one. First, you want to make sure that your team has stayed relatively close to the meta, which right now means having a dedicated support, a tank, an off-tank or bruiser, and 2 assassins who should probably be ranged, but that's not too important. Now if your team has those boxes checked, you want to start looking at things like if your team has good engage, are too squishy, do you have stuns, do you have enough damage, sustain healing, or burst potential. Typically a team won't have too much trouble sticking to the meta, but it's in these secondary areas where your team might be lacking. Luckily, Heroes of the Storm doesn't conform to the cookie-cutter hero roles that other MOBAs do, which means that there are some heroes that can bridge gaps in your team composition by sliding into those gaps that a janky draft has left. So let's get this rolling with my first pick, which is Medivh. Medivh is interesting because when he was released, there was a very long period of time where he was one of the lowest win rate heroes in the game, and it wasn't really until the pros started to utilize him that we realized what he was good for. Medivh is the ultimate second support pick. He spans roles between a mage and a support hero. He's an excellent pick if your team has sufficient damage, but might be too squishy to survive the early portion of engagements to get that damage out. Now, Medivh is a draft saver for a couple of reasons, and none of the other heroes on this list's game-saving presence will be felt so acutely as Medivh's. If your team has poor mobility and is squishy, and the enemy team has high burst damage or hard engage, then Medivh can save that game and completely frustrate the enemy while doing so. Because of his ability to turn teammates invulnerable, he is an amazing counter to burst damage. Turning an ally invulnerable at the right time can save a teamfight. On top of that, his teleport can be an extremely powerful tool for engagements. However, what is more likely is that you'll find yourself using it for game-saving disengagements. This is where Medivh saves teams with poor mobility, because this is the best and only ability in the game that gives your teammates an option to relocate, which fills what may otherwise be a massive gap in your team composition. Medivh offers all of this utility while still dealing decent damage when compared to other assassins, which means that you can slide him into the assassin slot during draft to turn a team comp that is too squishy to compete into one that will feel invincible because they will be literally invulnerable. Now at number 2, I'm going to throw in a hero whose name I still don't know how to pronounce correctly despite the amount of times that I have been corrected, and that is Tyrande. Tyrande is another case of a character that spans between the roles of support and assassin, except instead of being half a mage, she's half of an auto-attack assassin. It is a lot simpler to understand when Tyrande is going to save a draft than it is to understand Medivh, because while Medivh is providing tons of utility, Tyrande's role as a draft saver can be boiled down to sheer numbers. Basically, if you find yourself in a draft where your team is going to be lacking both healing output and damage output, Tyrande will save you by providing both. Tyrande is not a great pick as a full support or as a full ranged assassin, but she does do both jobs decently well. Personally, I like picking her alongside a burst healer like Uther so that you can provide the spot healing, which will allow your team to trade more efficiently until the full engagement happens. She also helps apply pressure in these situations with her surprisingly strong auto-attack damage, owls, and a ranged stun. The time to pick Tyrande is when your team needs ranged damage but also lacks sustain. She can change a game from one where your team is constantly being forced to disengage due to poke damage into one that can trade for days. Finally, in the number 1 slot is Zarya. This big Russian shares with the previous 2 heroes that trait that she spans multiple roles. However, she is unique from them in that she spans between a tank and a support class. Zarya is the only ranged tank hero in the game, and also has the ability to shield her teammates from damage. These 2 unique qualities mean that she can save a team that lacks a frontline capable of protecting the backline. The draft that Zarya saves has her sliding into the off-tank or bruiser role, where she will make up for a team's lack of crowd control or burst healing to protect the backline. These drafts are relatively easy to spot because, similar to Tyrande, a lot of the time you can boil her contribution down to numbers and role. Do you need an off-tank, range damage, and healing for your teammates? Perfect. Pick Zarya and turn a team of squishy melee assassins into an unstoppable frontline. And now I want to do a little lightning round consisting of honorable mentions for some other heroes that can span multiple roles, giving them the potential to save a bad draft. Holy Shock Uther spans between melee tank and a healer and provides tons of crowd control via his stuns. Tassadar spans between mage and support, providing decent range damage alongside shields for his teammates. Yrel is a great off-tank who with the right build can provide a shocking amount of healing throughput. Cassia, who is an ultra-tanky ranged assassin that often joins the front line. And finally Kazarum, who is a highly offensive support hero that sometimes verges into melee assassin territory. And that is it for the draft savers. Basically, these heroes can uniquely fill multiple gaps in a team composition that heroes that are more dedicated to a certain role will not be able to. I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do subscribe to my channel for more. If you want to go above and beyond and help me grow the channel, which I truly appreciate, you can like and share the video so that more people can see it. And finally, for those still with me, please do leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this video, and let me know what topics you want me to cover in my next video. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great week.